Let's talk about the Exemplar. Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today, we've got another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 Prestige class video for you, and today, coming at you from the Complete Adventurer, we've got ourselves the Exemplar. So, today we're going to talk about first, what is the Exemplar? Then we're going to talk about what it takes to become an Exemplar. Then we're going to talk about what you get as an Exemplar, and finally we're going to talk about how good the Exemplar is and how you might use it in a build. So, let's get started. Alright, first, what is the Exemplar? All creatures have so much potential. They can do so many different things. The best way to show people just how much potential they have and to inspire them to unlock that potential from within is to show them by example, to be the best you can be and let everyone else know that you're amazing. You can do it too. I can do it, and so can you. That's really the attitude of the Exemplar. They are very positive. They try to uplift people, showing them how great they can be by showing them the potential that is within inside of them by example, by being it, by embodying the greatness that they see in everyone. And that is the Exemplar. These guys can be anything too. They can be adventurers traveling the multiverse, going from dimension to dimension, just kind of going wherever they feel like, showing people along the way just how amazing they are and how great they can be too. These guys aren't negative though. They're great at their craft, but they're not, hey, I'm better than you. No, they're like, hey, I'm great and you can be too if you want. That's their attitude. It's so positive. It's so uplifting. That's just how the Exemplar is. And a lot of Exemplars, they're not even these fancy interdimensional travelers. A lot of Exemplars are just ordinary people living their lives. Farmers, bakers, blacksmiths. Now, these guys are amazing at what they do. The Exemplar might be just a humble farmer, but you know what? He is a dang good farmer that's known all around his area for being really good. Like all the other farmers know, yeah, that Farmer John, he's one heck of a farmer. Makes some good stuff. The guys that he sells his products to, they're like, yeah, Farmer John makes really good stuff. Like, you should definitely get from him. Like, he does good. These guys are well known for their work. They're not the types that are just ordinary. Yeah, they might be ordinary by some people's standards, but they are exceptional at what they do, and they live by example, and they try and show others just how great they can be too. So yeah, that is the Exemplar. Great people all around. A great NPC class too. Now that we've talked about what the Exemplar is, let's talk about what it takes to become an Exemplar. All right, first, they need skills. They need 6 ranks in diplomacy and 13 ranks in any skill that isn't diplomacy. Not too bad. They also need a feat, and that feat is skill focus, anything. That's it. That's all that's required. 13 ranks in any skill that isn't diplomacy, 6 ranks in diplomacy, and skill focus with any skill that they feel like, which is not too bad. Skill focus isn't the best feat in the world. It's actually one of the worst feats in the game, but it has great synergy with the class, so it makes sense. 13 ranks, that's a lot. It is going to require 10 levels before you can get in, so you won't be able to start till 11th level. So getting your 10th level capstone won't happen until 20th level. So that's a bit of an issue, but it's a very good class. Let's talk about what they get. First off, D6 hit dice, decent. They get an average base attack bonus. It's all right. They get a good will save, but a bad fortitude and reflex save. But there's more to their saves than that, so we'll get into it. The bad fortitude and reflex aren't as bad as they seem. We will get into that later. In terms of skills, they get all of them. Every single skill is a class skill, so that's huge. And 8+ inch, so skill-wise, as good as it gets, like straight up. I think they might actually be the best in the game, because I think the only other class that gets all skills is the Factotum, and I think they only get 6+ inch. And the only other ones that get 8 are the Rogue, and they get a lot of skills, but not all of them. I think they're the best, just bar none. And it gets better because let's talk about their class features. First off, they get skill artistry. They get to pick one skill that they have 13 ranks in. Actually, it has to be the one that they use to get in as the prestige class, the first level and all that. But that skill gets to have a +4 bonus to it. And if they had multiple, they can pick whichever one they want. Yeah, and then every 3 levels thereafter, they can pick another skill that they have 13 ranks in. So that's huge. And if they don't have 13 ranks in a second skill for whatever reason, well, they can pick it up later. And that's just fine. It's just as soon as they get that 13th rank, it immediately go on to whatever skill they chose for it. So that's actually really, really good. So even if they didn't happen to have 13 ranks in enough skills, they'll still pick it up eventually. And I don't know why they wouldn't have 13 ranks in more skills, because honestly, with this prestige class, you're going to want that. And it's going to be easy to pull off with their skill list and the number of skill ranks they get. So yeah. Then They also get skill mastery. So a number of skills equal to their intelligence modifier plus their class level. You are going to be able to take a 10 on those regardless. So even in situations where they shouldn't be able to take a 10, they can take a 10. Very similar to the rogues class feature, but this one does actually go up with class levels. So it's huge. Like you can get a lot of skills on that. Pretty big deal. Now at second level, they get lend talent, and lend talent is useful. What they can do is as a full round action, they can take a penalty of anything up to their class level. You'll want to keep it an even number though. And everyone within 30 feet of them gets a bonus on that skill equal to half of the penalty you took. So if you took a penalty, and it has to be a skill that's on skill artistry, but if you took a penalty on craft weaponsmithing, then everyone within 30 feet of you will get a bonus to their craft weaponsmithing equal to half the penalty you took. So that's pretty huge, and it can be any skill that you have skill artistry for. So that's pretty nice. At 8th level, it's no longer half the penalty. You get the full penalty. So if you took a -8, then they get a +8, not a +4. So that's pretty huge. Pretty nice ability right there, all in all. They also get bonus feats. So every 3 levels, they'll get a bonus feat, and they have a list. It's basically all of the feats that give bonuses to skills, and then also a few others. Yeah, not too bad. Now, is it every single one? I think it's all of them ones in the player's handbook, as well as all of the ones in the complete adventure, which book that this is in. So it's all of those. I would argue that any other feat that you can find that just adds a bonus to skills would qualify as a factotum bonus feat, even though it's not explicitly listed. I think a lot of DMs would argue that as well. Not that it matters much. Those feats are generally all bad. At the same time, that's probably a fair assessment. Even though rules is written, that's not the case. Rules is intended, probably, because let's be real, like these guys are skill monkeys. If it's a feat that ups your skills, it's probably good for class feat. Now, 4th level, they get something known as sustaining presence. So what it's going to do is it's going to make it so that you can add your charisma to your concentration as well as to your fortitude save. Remember how I said their bad saves aren't as bad as they seem? Well, this is part of why I said that. I say part for a reason. We'll get into the rest later, but yeah, so they can add their charisma in addition to their constitution to fortitude saves and concentration checks. So that's huge. Pretty nice to be able to get some bonuses to their saves as well as concentration checks, which I guess are useful. These guys don't get any casting. That's mostly what that's useful for. So there's some issues there, but not the worst. Now, 5th level, that's the one that they get an ability that everybody talks about the Exemplar for. That is persuasive performance. This is quite the class feature. Basically, it lets you use any skill as diplomacy. Effectively what it does. There's some restrictions on it. You can't use the skill as a hostile action. Makes sense. You have to do it as a means of entertainment. Okay, that's also fair enough. You also have to do it for at least a minute, which is how long a diplomacy would take. So not too terrible. Makes some sense. It's really just letting you use any skill as diplomacy, which can be huge. I know a lot of people use Jumpermancer builds, which does very much utilize this class feature as well as the jump skill. The easiest and the one that you can get to the highest numbers on, yeah, it can be used to jump real high to impress somebody and make them your friend. It's a pretty good one, all in all. You can do it with any skill. You can be like, yeah, look how fast I can make this dagger, and just like put on a show making a dagger with craft weapon making, and use that in order to like befriend somebody. Be like, wow, this guy can make a dagger real good. Did you see how quick he made that? He was showing off, like he's flipping the hammer, bang, this guy's cool. I want to be friends with him. Yeah, you can do that. That's basically what the class feature is. It's kind of an interesting one, and it's definitely used in some builds. Then at 8th level, they get intellectual agility, which again, coming back to what I was saying about their bad saving throws. This one lets them add their intelligence to their reflex saves, which is massive. So yeah, pretty useful. And finally, at 10th level, they get perfect self, which makes it so that they become an outsider native. That's really all it does. I think they can still be revived though, so that's kind of cool. That's really all they get. Now we've talked about what they get. Let's talk about how good they are. They're quite good. Are they the best in the game? No, they're not a caster. But in terms of skill monkeys, they're amazing. They're the best there is. There's nothing that is on the same level. Factotum, okay, they only get 6+ int in terms of skills though. So there's that, and they don't get all the cool class features that these get. And you could talk about the rogue. Okay, they also get 8+ int, but they don't get every single skill as a class skill. They get a lot of them, but they don't get all of them. So So these guys are just bar none the best. And yeah, rogues get skill mastery too, but I think this class has a slightly better skill mastery. They get it a little bit earlier, I think, or at least the same level. And they also get skill artistry and land talent, and they get a ton of other stuff. So when it comes to skill monkeys, these guys beat anything. Rogues, you could argue, are pretty close, but they beat rogues by at least a little bit. They're just the best when it comes to skill. Are they great in combat? No, but you could use their persuasive performance to talk their way out of a fight, assuming the enemy wasn't hostile and coming at you. It would take a minute, and that's a long time to stall in combat. Not terrible, to be honest. Not terrible at all. So yeah, I would say it can be a very good class. And on top of that, in terms of how to use it in a build, you can put it on with anything. Rogue's probably your best bet. Maybe Bard. Bard's also another good option. You could combine this with the Evangelist. Potentially a DM would allow Persuasive Foreman to combine with their ability to make diplomacy checks quicker. Potentially. There's a lot of cheese in that, and rules is written. I don't think it works, but you might be able to talk a DM into allowing it to work. Honestly, I don't know if it would. There's DMs that would allow. There's some pretty lenient DMs out there. But yeah, that's how good they are. Let me know what you guys think about them down in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more D&D 3.5 content and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. Also, down in the description below, there is a link to my Discord as well as to my Twitch. So check those out. As always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing ya.